The Vikings moved up one spot with the Jets. They flipped the Jets a 4th and a 5th on Saturday for the right to move up one spot.
With the 10th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select
J.J. McCarthy,
quarterback, Michigan.
And a huge ovation from the Wolverine heavy crowd here in Detroit, just down the road. And as you can see, in Van Buren Township, Michigan, he is going to Minnesota. And he is the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, joining a room with Sam Darnold, who was signed earlier.
Cold weather, tough rebuild, tough division. You could go to the Giants. That's a tough rebuild as well. He goes to Kevin O'Connell's offense. This is tailor-made. And the thing that really stands out about J.J. McCarthy, you got to start with intangibles. Teams love the fact he was 63-3, dating all the way back to high school and through college. He has been a winner. And when I say winner, it's not to be taken lightly because he's got great command and confidence on the field. He takes every slight, puts it in his little memory box, and he goes out and tries to get you back for that. He can run the ball outside of the pocket, so he has that ability. He has the ability to really throw with anticipation in the middle of the field. I think he's a quarterback who does a really nice job of throwing on the run, incredibly accurate on rollout passes, and that could be some old school Mike Shanahan, Gary Kubiak boot action stuff under center because he has played in a pro-style offense there in Michigan. So I think this is the perfect pick for the Minnesota Vikings. Of all the quarterbacks, I think this one makes sense. And for J.J. McCarthy, frankly, from a fit standpoint, with Jay Jett out there at wide receiver, I don't know that it could be better, that you could have just picked a quarterback-needy team better than the Minnesota Vikings.
Really like the pick, and I like the pick because Kevin O'Connell routinely sets his quarterbacks up for success. And with Sam Darnold there, there's not the rush necessarily to put J.J. McCarthy on the field right away. This is an opportunity for them to fully build the offense around him. And Lance, what I liked about what you talked about, his winning intangibles and attributes, we see it time and time again. This dude is a big-time playmaker. He made the plays that were needed to make it. But when your team is up and blowing everyone out, you're not going to compile a lot of gaudy stats. He just knows how to get the team to the winner's circle that matters in this league.
It is not a lack of elite plays. It is a lack of volume of elite plays, and that is not of McCarthy's choosing or his own fault. It is the way they played offense, and he was an expert at running the offense, guided the Michigan Wolverines to the top of the mountain in college football. And he is the 5th quarterback taken. That is the first time 5 quarterbacks have gone in the top 10 in the common draft era. What has been missing from the top 10? Defense.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have traded the 17th pick to the Minnesota Vikings. With the 17th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Dallas Turner, linebacker, Alabama.
So Dallas Turner, who sacked J.J. McCarthy in the Rose Bowl, is coming out of the green room right now to be a teammate of J.J.'s. And the edge rusher from Alabama, who many people penciled in to go to Georgia 8th overall as the first defensive player taken, is now coming out of the green room as the 3rd defensive player taken in a row after 14 offensive players started our night.
This tells you what type of night it's been. In the back of my mind, I assume Dallas Turner's gone.
Already gone.
I didn't even have, we're going and looking at names. I'm thinking, okay, who's going to be there for him? And I got to go all the way up to the very top of the edge rusher list. They're the #1 edge rusher in the draft, and they're able to reel him in as well as getting their quarterback. That's a job well done.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too, which is why I mentioned his teammate and Terrion Arnold. Right church, wrong pew. He is coming out and holding up a purple jersey to, we're assuming, complete the Minnesota Vikings night. They came in with 2 first-round draft choices. They used them, but not in the spots where they originally had them. 2 draft trades tonight. It's Minnesota moving up twice, and Dallas Turner's the guy now.
He's going to get a chance to play on a fast track there in that dome as well. Brian Burns, think about the juice, the burst, the get-off that he has. He's now a New York Giant. Dallas Turner, similar type of player. Ridiculous length. I mean, he's got rare arm length. Uses those arms to be able to reel guys in. He's got tremendous lateral range. The take on to me was fine. Some teams had a concern with it. I didn't have an issue with it. He's able to hold his ground, take on blocks. You saw it there. That inside long arm working against Georgia, that's his calling card as a rusher. Able to pry that shoulder open and then get inside. And then once he gets to the high side of the rush, there's that burst and bend to finish, CD.
And one thing about Alabama players, as you guys all know, when you played for Nick Saban, it's 4th and 1 every day.
So there it is. Bit of a fall for Dallas Turner as he exits the draft room, just based on mock drafts, based on buzz from the draft community. And clearly the Minnesota Vikings had value attached to Dallas Turner's name because they traded up 6 spots after seeing he was still available after the Seattle Seahawks made their selection. So Turner is a 6'2" and change player, but a massive 83-inch wingspan. So he's got the length to keep those offensive linemen's hands off him, out of his chest. He uses those arms to his advantage, which we'll show you here shortly. But was a double-digit sack artist here, teaming up with a guy who will probably here come off the board tomorrow, and Chris Braswell for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Definitely wreaks some havoc in the SEC this year. So, Lance, you kind of thought this might be the pick as well. He ends up being the 7th player on your board, and so some good value here, plus 10 in value if you look at it that way for the Vikings.
It really is, and what you have is this rare length that you talked about. And the reason that's important is because first in is usually the winner, and if you can get first in with your hands, and when you have a wingspan of a 7-footer, you're going to be first in a lot of times against those tackles. He has the loose lower body that allows him to get up and around the corner. That insane burst up the field gives him the ability to really rock tackles on their back foot whenever he's rushing. But the other thing he does is he'll play the run now. And if you're going to play for Nick Saban and Alabama, you can't not play the run. That's a necessity. You have to be tough enough. Now, he's not Will Anderson playing the run, but he's a willing take-on guy, and he has the ability to range to the sideline and cut off those outside running plays. And when it comes to rushing the passer, the strip sack ability with his, just the ability to flat out get off the ball and immediately put tackles in reverse. That sets up inside moves, sets up stab move counters. These are moves he's going to develop more. Yeah. And as we mentioned, he's the traiciest rusher of all of the rushers when it comes to his athletic profile. The athletic profile of a wide receiver, frankly.
Yeah. And look, when I think about this defense, Bucky, an attack-minded defense with Brian Flores, you unleash a 4.4 speed guy with an 83-inch wingspan, that fits.
He absolutely fits. He's a freak athlete who has outstanding first step quickness. He can bend and burst. He's versatile enough to be able to play with force or finesse off the edge. Nonstop motor. Played in a very complicated defense, so he can play in a high leverage scheme. This is a really, really good player. And for Brian Flores, what they do in the back end with that myriad of cover zero where they're always challenging and testing the IQ of the quarterback, well, now you're going to create some free rushes for a guy who is a dominant playmaker and pass rusher off the edge.
With the 108th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Khyree Jackson, defensive back, Oregon.
They said from Oregon, this is a rare 4-school player. He started out at Alabama, then was at 2 junior colleges, and then ended up there at Oregon. Height, weight, speed. This is a big corner, 6'3", almost 6'4", 194 pounds. Didn't run as fast as I thought he would. Ran 4.5 flat, CD. I thought he would end up running much faster than that because he's very explosive. He's got loose hips for a big guy. He can really gain ground and recover. I thought missed tackles were a little bit of an issue there, and anytime you've been at that many different stops, teams are doing their homework as well.
Yeah, they're doing their homework, and some of that comes from every place you go. It's a new coach, it's a new technique, it's a new style, but he does not lack for confidence. He wants to step up and play all the time. And you got the Lions fans booing Peter. But this is a kid that right now would walk into that room and say, I want to defend Amon-Ra St. Brown on 3rd down.
Let's go.
And he's the type of guy who wants to jump out there and give it an opportunity.
Yeah, they held on to that 23rd pick, which everyone thought they would have to mortgage to move up to get McCarthy. They move up and get Turner, and now they get a corner on day 3. That's a sacrifice. You'd move up a couple of picks, but they'll be very happy with those 3 in their first 3 picks.
With the 177th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Walter Rouse, tackle, Oklahoma.
Solid pick, came over from Stanford. as a left tackle. Ended up working over there for Bill Biedenbaugh, the offensive line coach for Oklahoma. Reminds me a little bit of Cam Fleming, who was a player who actually who actually played at Stanford as well and spent some time with the Dallas Cowboys, some other NFL teams. He has a lot of starting experience. He's got good technique. He's played at some spots where they emphasize techniques. He's generally patient and well-balanced with his pass sets, keeps the feet moving to stay connected with blocks. There's some things I like about it. I thought he was a quality tackle who has a chance to become a swing tackle. Not the best athlete, but for the 6th round, this is actually pretty good value for a tackle this late.
With the 203rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Will Reichard, kicker, Alabama. Let's go, baby.
Will Reichard, he's going to the Vikings.
Vikings, just
So Will Reichard has kicked in a ton of high leverage situations, SEC championship games. He's kicked in, college football playoff games. He's a consistent ball striker, gets good lift very, very quickly, strikes it the same way every single time. He did miss a 50. He did miss in that incredible game, the Hendon Hooker game with Jalen Wyatt. He missed a kick that would have won that game against Tennessee. The Tennessee came back and upset him. He's not like a booming drive kicker, so he's not like a booming leg, but he is almost basically up underneath 40 yards. It's a rep. He is going to absolutely make it.
With the 230th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Michael Jurgens, center, Wake Forest.
With the 232nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Levi Rodriguez, defensive tackle, Texas A&M Commerce.